any chance whatsoever at the moment.
Oh, absolutely, and sorry about that. I actually muted my mic to cough a little bit and forgot to unmute, and I was chatting away and I was thinking, oh my goodness, Kid Fox, you keen bean, look at you go. But yes, it's an absolute blowout now. There's literally no possible way that even if Hop and the boys decided to throw, that this could go the way of Keck, sadly. And we did see earlier when they were on market, Wingman on the LMG being 170 health, he was just bodying them and was actually on like a 19 kill streak before he finally died. So, you know, almost got a nuke, and Revsy's on 11 kill streak now. There's potential for a nuke still to him.
Absolutely, as we continue to watch Kanga dominate this game on Sandstorm here, the pit will now be the battlefield of choice. What can Keck do? Skellyman gets taken down, as does Random Boy, and this is an absolute bloodbath here. Poor old Keck, they're just trickling in like a dripping tap at the moment, and they just need to coordinate a little bit more if they're going to have any chance here, because this is one of those points that is very, very easy to defend. Or, you just sit up on the high ground, which is exactly what Kanga is doing here, and you watch your opponent just funnel in down the mid and, you know, along the north side, and that's going to be it. Blinken, you'll miss it. Boomer, we're going to go back to the next point, down to the south side.
Yeah, and something to note as well, like, for you guys at home, if you're tuning in and you're not really sure what on earth this is, it's krunkerio. This is a free game. It's a browser game, or playable through a downloadable client. We also have Steam release later this month. Just throw some shameless plugs out here while we've got a hot minute, as these boys are heading up towards 10k. And the key feature of this game, which we'll see in a few of the games later on today, is the movement. And, you know, hopping's a huge thing in this game, and it creates quite a fast environment, and a lot of these players go at breakneck speeds, similar to, you know, the OG Quake players zooming around the map. So that's something to look for as well later in the cast. But the boys from Keck, you know, it's Random Boy probably finally timed out, but their movements don't paint it either. None of these boys are, you know, creating an issue by flying in and potentially getting themselves some kills, as we see poor old Skelly Man coming in all by his lonesome. And yeah, this is probably the biggest episode you've ever seen Krunkerio's boys. This has been quite an interesting showing.
Yeah, Keck are down to 3 players, unfortunately. And look, they finally get the reconnect as Random Boy decides to make his way back in. But having a look over at Kanga, they're pushing 1,200 points. And look, Revsy on a 17 kill streak. Just styling on his opposition here. Keck, well, they actually managed to get a good penetration there onto that site, but Kanga were just way too split, and they parted like the Red Sea and basically let Keck slide hop their way through, and they just turned in and caught them in the crossfire. This is looking very, very good for Kanga. That's why they're the OCE champs, ladies and gentlemen. They want to take a big bite of that 5k prize pool, and a dominating performance like this is not only going to do wonders for their Picklebret Pro League journey, but it's basically going to strike fear into the hearts of their opposition who are looking at this right now, Boomer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, if they do come up against the lesser team in the next round, I'm not quite sure who they'll be versing next. I didn't actually see who they'd be moving on to verse, but, you know, if there's a semi, you know, Div 2 potential team and they've just watched this 12,000 heading to 13,000 points smashing by Kangaroo Esports, it's definitely going to rustle their gym jams, so to speak, seeing a team come out here and, you know, the kills tell a tale. You've got 144 kills to 11. It's not fair. It just isn't fair at all.
It's like watching, you know, Mike Tyson go up against a high school boxing champ, isn't it? Yeah, and that is exactly what we're seeing here at the moment. Continue to blow out their lead, and I guess the best news for Keck is that this game only has 2 minutes left. As we go into the second last point, he managed to answer a frag, but it's still looking all Kanga's way, as it looks like, you know, this is just way too strong for Keck to even get anywhere close to it. And I just had a quick squiz at the bracket, Boomer. Kanga will be going through to place the winner of Click Machines and Tulladexies in the upper bracket. So if we follow their journey, the teams that will be still, but yes, having a look at the screen, has actually managed to get his way to a 9-kill streak. So, you know, it's not all doom and heck. You know, this is a game with you know, when you take into account the amount of mobility and mechanics that you do need to be good at in order to be a professional player of this game. 160 kills to 14. Kanga are just absolutely mincing them at the moment, as we're finally going to go over the last one down on the seaside.
Yeah, look, there's just not a lot to talk about when they're... I mean, good on these guys regardless. Like, you know, Peps and Scully, they got a few points on the board. Paul Random's probably playing on ADSL 1 on a Chromebook, but, you know, good on them for actually showing up. You know, they've stuck in here, they've taken the belting on the chin. As we've talked about, they're not out of it yet. You know, they can go down to the losers bracket, and who knows, they could come up against a team that's to an equal skill of themselves and potentially, you know, do some damage in that lower bracket. But just at the moment, I just think, you know, these guys, bit of a learning experience. They can take something away from this, take it on the chin, maybe think to themselves, we need to play some more, you know, scrims and so on, as the boys tick over 16k. My lord. Oh gosh, I want to say bad words about that stomping, but there you go, ladies and gentlemen. First game of the day, 16k. Not much to talk about. We see on the kill feed, my lord, those KDs. Well, I mean, I don't need to paint a picture for you guys. You can see it already, but you know, Wingman on the LMG went 42. That's all I have to say. Good old classic Australian Struth.
I mean, everybody from Kanga definitely played their part there, Boomer. You know what? You have to take your hat off. Even though they got absolutely stomped, they did what a lot of the people sitting around watching this game didn't do today, and that is the fact that they turned up. You know, they're having a crack, they're having a go. They're down now into the lower bracket, so their journey is not over, but they've definitely got a lot to polish up. But that's game one done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Picklebet Krunker Pro League. The next game that we will be covering will be Law versus Law Caffeine. Now, Boomer, how about you give us a little bit of insight on these two teams?
Alrighty, so we've got a bit of a belter. This is going to be a different turn of events now, ladies and gentlemen. This is two teams that are best buds. These guys, we hang out every day in Discord. These are the homies. These guys, you know, have been at the pinnacle of Krunker Esports for the past year. Most of these guys have, you know, 3+ weekly wins under their belt, and, you know, wins in other regions as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Sadly, CJ Scully, who's the captain of Law Caffeine, sadly, he's at a birthday party for his granddad today. He's turning 90, so congrats on that fella hitting a milestone of 90, but sadly CJ won't be here. They will be playing with a sub, so that might hamper them a little bit, as I believe their sub is Shirashi, a player who's, you know, been out of the comp scene for quite a while, but, you know, back in his heyday was actually quite a good player. So it's going to be very interesting to see how those boys stack up against the likes of Varu, one of the best Rev players ever to play this game. He's been out of the game now for 4 or 5 months, but, you know, he's coming in to this tournament to try and win money with some of his old teammates, Agent Chicken and Johnny Durr. Again, you know, two of the best players in Krunker are Agent Chicken and Johnny Durr. And then we've got McEwen as well on Law XD now. And, you know, McEwen's on a different class for once. He's on LMG. He usually plays a DPS class like Semi or AK and the likes, but he is on LMG for the first time. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Law Caffeine stack up. They've got two young dudes in Scorch and Nate Jake, who this is their biggest tournament they're going to be doing probably ever. So, you know, big stage. These guys have got a lot of pressure on their shoulders, newly made into Law, so, you know, they've got a lot riding on their shoulders, Kid Fox. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys go.
Look, I'm personally a little bit saddened that CJ Scully isn't going to be, you know, gracing us with his appearance today. Now, you've heard this story, Boomer, but I know that a lot of people out there haven't. One of my first ever Krunker games that I played, I was a fresh noob. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. My first ever game, I jumped into a pub lobby, and who did I run into? CJ Scully. And I swear to God,